There we go. Not streaming. So I am streaming. Great. All right, so we're on. Hello, everybody. As soon as I could verify that everything is running, then I'm going to start doing something. I'm gonna just spend like an hour running with test containers because I had a problem earlier where I couldn't test anything since the version of the JVM used by database engines are sometimes not compliant with the current build tool that I'm using. And honestly, I figured, well, I could kind of pigeonhole it, like square into a circle peg, but that wasn't gonna work. So I figured, I guess I heard this before. I was giving a talk about cloud contracts and how you can use them with containers. How you can deploy a contract with a container. You're given say a YAML file that describes a web service or a RESTful endpoint. You can then turn that into a wire mock, standalone wire mock test. And what that do is allow you to take that particular like service, give it to somebody, maybe they're iOS or Android or they're running like IoT, and they can just test against it, like as if it were your actual service, and that's really cool because it decouples our producers from the consumers, of course. Now with databases, it's a little different because you don't always have a database that's running on your local machine, and you probably don't have a Minikube running with all of the databases you need, or maybe you don't have a dev environment. Not all of us have a Mac, a Mac Mini in the background running Kafka, MySQL, Maria, and Oracle, and Cassandra, and ElasticSearch. A lot of people aren't doing that, and you shouldn't. You could probably use an online cloud service to test on, and that's fine actually. But if you want to get a little bit more containerized, or if you want to get a little bit more decoupled, I think test containers is a good way to get there. Yeah. Even if you don't like the idea behind containers and testing, that's just my thing. Is how do I decouple far enough for me to remove the variability from my tests, and I think this does a good job of it. So this isn't a complete plug for test containers. This is me diving into test containers to utilize its functionality, so I can make my life a little easier, and maybe I can discover something to help make life a little easier for testing these things. And what I'm doing is I'm testing a implementation that I've been writing, and start.spring.io. So what I did was I started an application a while ago, and what it does is it keeps data, it stores data, right? I just have a lot of data somewhere. I might have readings from one of these guys, or I might have a GPS sensor, things that always emit data. You want to be able to push that into some sort of a database. Now, what I want to do also is I want to verify that everything works. I don't want to just push data in and find out that I didn't get the stuff that I wanted. I want to verify that it all works. I guess I'm really excited to start testing some code. But essentially, I'm not going to use Spring Initializer. I'll show you what my parameters are. I'm not using Spring Initializer like from here, from this point onward. I just want to illustrate what am I actually using to bootstrap that project. And let's just start here at start.spring.io. I kind of like it as a good place to wind up on any given Wednesday. It's Wednesday. You definitely start at start.spring.io. I'm not gonna hound you unless you're trying to go to start.php.io. Then I'm probably going to be a little bad. But anyway, we're gonna go with a relatively new version. 2.3.4 is good enough. We want. I'm using Maven still. I had the initiative to use Gradle a long time ago, and I did use Gradle for a while. I like Gradle. It's just that old habits die hard. Yeah. I guess you can say that. So one of my good new habits is using Kotlin. That's probably one of the best new habits that I've got so far, because it's just so much more cleaner. And then using start.spring.io, obviously. So this would be a normal example demo. I wouldn't have anything specific except for maybe the persistence layers that I want. So like, let's say I want it Cassandra. So I say it's reactive data for Cassandra. We can use reactively, we can use non-reactively, it doesn't matter. If we're using an embedded database, Spring knows how to find it. TestContainers will okay, well, we're going to connect to it reactively. Done. All right, so the second thing I wanted to do was Elastic. So this will be where the real new stuff happens, is with ElasticSearch. I have an index, and right now I'm backing that index with Cassandra, but I also want to back it with a Elasticsearch. So this is kind of a fork code where I decide, okay, well, do I fully flush out a bunch of Elasticsearch tests, or do I set the stage for the Elasticsearch test? So do I put together the schema, and do I need to put together any specific container configurations? So I'll set the actual data manipulation parts to the side until much later, and I'll get the test rolling first. As usual, TDD, let's just write some tests, right? And then worry about production when we get there. And I plan on doing that for the next hour. Yeah. So let's try that. Let's go for ElasticSearch. So I want Cassandra. I want ElasticSearch. What else do I need for this? I already get JUnit for free. I'm using Kotlin. I have all the reactive extensions in Kotlin since I imported the data reactive for Apache Cassandra. Now, how this is, the Elasticsearch is probably reactive. I haven't used it yet. I'm going to imagine that it's using a REST endpoint in which web client might be used. We'll find that out later. In fact, that doesn't matter at this point in the juncture. But basically, let's go ahead and look at the dependencies of this project. Let's see, what will I be missing out of my existing project is going to be this guy here, since I don't already have him in my current project. So I will be adding a data ElasticSearch. Okay, to my POM, wherever that is. Hello, POM. Okay, there is a POM here somewhere. Is that true? I mean, is that? Yeah. Okay, so if I went into my POM file, I wouldn't want to add it here. It would add it. I would actually need to create a brand new scope, a brand new submodule, push it into there, and be done. So why don't we go ahead and delete this? Why do we have this in here? Wow. 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 Okay. We can delete that code since nobody's going to use that code forever. All right. Well, let's move on anyway. What is the first thing I can do here? I guess the first thing I could do is like configure a test container. So I'm using a project there. That's the project. This is a Cassandra persistence project. And in this particular thing, we have, this is a very simple, actually don't look at this. You shouldn't look at this. I don't know. This is an existing project. If you want to look at it, go ahead. If this text is too small, that's fine. You don't need to look at it. It could be there, or it could not be there. So what we want to do is we have a service, and we have very many services, a lot of microservices, right? Very many microservices. We have these things called persistent services. This is a persistent service. A persistent service does just one thing. It persists, but it needs a repository to persist against, right? So if I had a repository to persist against, this is where I typically give a repository. In this case, this one service. This one service does one thing, and it's a very isolated service. It's the only service that does it. It's a key service, and I said I don't want a persistence. I don't want to, actually I want persistence. I don't want a repository. I just want a template. So here I just talk to a database directly using its template. Now, the other services, the other persistent services, talk to a they most likely, they talk to a repository. So like this guy here, this thing is called a membership persistence, and it talks to a topic membership repository. So there we go. Okay, so all I need is a database connection, a reactive Cassandra template here. Once I get one, assuming that it's a live database, I guess I can execute rem exists and key for a new key. And it looks like I have some old code here I can scrape off later on. Cool. Right. So let's test that key service then. How about that key service Cassandra, where it needs a codec and a template? We already have the test made out for here. In fact, we wrote the test in a while ago, just using the embedded Cassandra. I'll show you Cassandra. Let's see, Cassandra tests. There was an earlier version called Cassandra unit, and that's what it looked like. So this is Cassandra unit. Let me just show you the difference here. I'm pretty sure you already know, anybody here was watching. This is what I was using in the past, and I still think it's a viable resource. I like this resource because it's so simple to use and easy to set up your particular Cassandra instance. Whereas with TestContainers, obviously, I'm coming in new, and I got to figure out how to set up my specific Cassandra instance. In this one, all that I really needed to do was offer it a YAML file for configuring Cassandra, and what it would do is it would see that YAML file. It would say, okay, this is your Cassandra configuration. Here, let me just show you this instead of going through the blog. So let's see. So this is the earlier version. So version 1 was Cassandra unit. It was an embedded Cassandra that actually launched Cassandra within the IDE or within the Maven build or Gradle build. And it took a YAML file for your configuration of Cassandra into consideration when it started at the internal engine. I like that behavior, and I want to continue that behavior. Also, I don't. What I also want to say is this will start once and then refresh its namespace over for every iteration of a test. So I don't have to shut down Cassandra for every test suite and then restart it for every test suite. I just have one running in the background and then that gets refreshed. So I kind of like that behavior. I want to be able to state tests before tests start, shut all the databases down, clear everything, create new schema, execute test, and then recycle, right? So this particular configuration file has nothing in particular. It is actually a vanilla instance. It is on port 91, I think, 9142. Yeah. No. 904. Okay. It's on 9042. And good. Well, I don't have anything different. So what we'll do is we're connecting to 9042 by standard Cassandra. And, ooh, that T went down hard. That was good T. It really was good T. All right. So, yeah, this is a standard configuration file for Cassandra that this will just spin up during a test. This is Cassandra Units version. I'm not using that anymore. Let's go to the next one. In my application.properties, how did I set up Cassandra? How does Spring know how to set up Cassandra in your tests? Right? So you have test running and you have properties, resources that tell it where the data source goes. Most of the time, you're not going to have too much to worry about. You just have your key space name and maybe your data center, which is kind of important. One thing that I learned about the embedded data center is that it has to be a very specific property. So let's go into our Bootstrap YAML. And here we are. This guy here is let's see. So once I added the configuration bits, then I needed to tell TestContainers how to find that Docker image, right? So this is that particular YAML file that tells us, in this is SpringBoot specific, really. But this is just me saying embedded.cassandra.enabled is true, and then Docker image is 311, right? So that's fairly straightforward. Obviously, you want that on unless you like waiting for your tests. what do we have here? We have a key space. You create key space. Okay, all of this. Yeah, so we have our SQL scripts here. We have our key space creation script. And then we have several, for reasons of tests, we have several of the tables. So we have one for each. We have one for keys, one for memberships, messages. These are all data types that we keep objects for. And each one of these gets tests, basically. So back to this guy here, this configuration. Okay. Let's make that look nice here. All right, so let's see. Creative not exists. That's important. I want request consistency one, serial consistency any. That should be fine. Now let's get into some nitty gritty here. And now that we have our, now that we know where our configurations are, right? We know where our SQLs are. Let's look at the POM file. Let's go back to egg. This is kind of the chicken or egg thing, but let's figure out what is actually in here. So this is the old Cassandra unit version. I'll probably need to not worry about that for now, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. DataStrikes driver. I have a lognet. Let's see. There we are. So TestContainers. Okay, so this is all that I connected to was this guy here. I just wanted this one dependency. So once I inserted it, beyond the standard driver core and what looks like Hector. I guess I have Hector in there from an earlier day. Let's go ahead and remove that since we're not using the Cassandra unit anymore, which actually relied on a shaded version of Cassandra. And then I needed to get the Hector out so that it would run that using Cassandra unit. We use it with that version of Hector. I guess that's what I'm thinking. But once configuration gets convoluted in the way that you're now managing dependencies, I guess it makes it a little bit more harder to go back and go, why did I have this dependency? But this was obvious. Okay, so the only one we need is the embedded Cassandra. We don't need anything extra special in here. All right. So where are these properties coming from? Where is this guy coming from? Where is this coming from? Key space. Oh, yeah, I know what that's coming from. That's coming from bootstrap.yaml. Okay. But if Bootstrap doesn't have local data center, then who does? Don't tell me it's in production. It can't be production. Nope. Okay, we'll figure that one out later. Let's go ahead and make sure that these tests will actually work. I'm going to run one test because what gives me a weird smell is Spring Data Cassandra key space name. Where is that coming from? That's my question. So I want to figure out where that's coming from before I can move ahead. Since if I don't know where it's coming from, and I'm pretty sure it's coming from a YAML file or some configuration file. It could be empty and it could be default, and I might get strange behavior if I have that. I don't want such strange behavior because my Bootstrap is pretty barren. That's for sure. Let's go into our test base. Let's figure out what our test is doing. Maybe there's something I can glean from the tests. Okay. So essentially, this is the test. It's your standard Spring Boot test. It has a test instance. It's lifecycle per class. That's fine. This is Kotlin after all. Let's see. We say, hey, start Spring Boot test, but don't give us a web environment, and load up test configuration.class. Ah, there you go. Okay. And you, sir, have, wow. Okay, so base packages. Okay, I see what this guy is doing. So, really? There we go. Remove data imports. That was a lot of imports. When I see that import, and I just want it to be at like, I want it to be orange again, or brown. All right, so what do we have here? We have a test configuration file. So what's going to happen is upon startup, key service tests key service tests is going to load this guy up, and this guy scans com demo chat test for components, and then it goes ahead and says, hey, you have reactive Cassandra repositories here, and then enable configuration properties, right? Right, so we need our Cassandra configuration properties. We only have one, it's called base package, so I needed that for something. Let's go back to our test configuration. And Cassandra property, this is our standard for Spring Data Cassandra, as we have our standard Cassandra properties, name, session, contact points, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so assuming that applications.properties or bootstrap.yaml was configured correctly, I guess what I can do at this point is proceed with the test. I don't need a logger, but I love loggers. I'm not going to get rid of it. This is actually not needed because it's configuration. So neither is, I need initialize because I made this an application context initializer, which it doesn't need to be anymore since it doesn't have to do anything special. So I guess I can go ahead and, wow, just remove all of that, can't I? Just go ahead, bye-bye. You're just a marker class at this point. Look at you. Very good. Okay. Okay, so it's just a marker class. Now that thing just tells us, hey, we don't have anything to actually do. We're just going to enable these things for you upon startup at the test. So, you know, exactly, I can just copy and paste this into my key service test, but then I'd have to do that everywhere, and I don't want to do that. So let's see. What do we want to do next? Test cluster configuration. Who is using you? Who is using test cluster configuration? Ah, yes, this is old. This is my code, isn't it? Yeah, this is my code. Yep. That is some old code that I probably want to get rid of. Let's see if I could deprecate it. Do I need to worry about deprecating this now? No? It's just a barren class. No, ooh, hi. There we go. Let's see what that looks like on Twitch. Can anybody read that? Okay, that looks better. Okay, at least I can read it on Twitch. Alrighty, so this particular configuration just basically overrides the existing Cassandra configuration for legacy reasons, and yeah, it needs to be deprecated. So let's go ahead and do that. Oops. I want to deprecate this class, so the actual piece of code that I did here today was the deprecation. And I can't deprecate a class. Can I? Really? Okay, I'm going to Google that. Could have been sure I could just using the deprecate. But what? Wait. Okay. Wait. But what's the thing here? Kotlin's deprecated. Yeah, the value pass for message. Oh, right. Hi. Jeez. Yeah. Okay. I needed to tell myself that. Use standard configuration properties going forward. We're not going to use my properties. I guess what I did a long time ago is I had a problem with those properties and I had to extract some new things. What we all do. Hunger. I was hungry for the safety of a valid test that works, and if I couldn't get it, I was you know that feeling when your test doesn't work after an hour. Okay, so we have our configuration here. This is just setting up the stage to start our database, right? And that's it. It just configures what our database is going to look like, where it's going to be. We have an actual test here. Now, this actual test is known web environment, takes our test configuration. It is subclassed from our Cassandra schema test. This is called a schema test because, excuse me, well, we're testing schema here. We have to load schema, we have to destroy schema. And so that's what this guy here does. Now, because we're using test containers, I'm pretty sure that there is a way around this where I don't have to execute this code, but up until now, that is what I've seen. Right? What I've seen is people just executing willy-nilly, not willy-nilly, but executing code to set up their schema, and I think that's fine. But let's go ahead and find out Um, what's the right method? Like, what am I gonna actually do here? Am I following the right directions, Mario? Has Mario followed the right directions? And I understand that that's a problem. That a lot of times reading the directions, understanding the right directions, and reading the directions are two different things. I typically think that they're two different things. But then following directions is yet a third thing, and so I could either follow, read, or understand the directions, but not. I can pick one of three. It's kind of like cap. Okay, how about I can pick two of three? I can pick two. I can follow and understand, follow and read, or read and understand. And honestly, a lot of times I just like to understand and read. Whether I follow it, I might not even need it. Who knows? Probably won't. But it just makes sense because I like it. Alrighty. So we're going to connect here. We're going to follow this direction here, which says, hey, why don't you, use the session to create a key space. Yep, that's what I'm doing. I'm grabbing the Cassandra container of the cluster session, and I'm saying, hey, I need a way to create schema, and I'm doing that here using their advice. And I believe that advice is very sound. Now, in the future, we know what to do, right? So we know how to clean this up later on. I don't know if it needs to be cleaned. It's probably fine. It looks like a lot of code. If you're one who gets kind of wheezy like I do at looking at a little bit of code, yeah, I'm sorry. But that's dumbs the brakes with development sometimes, right? I know. Yeah, that was a poor excuse. All right, so that's all this guy here does. This is, let's see, reactive Cassandra template. If you guys aren't used to using reactive things, don't worry about it for now. But just to know the following is that you have to use block whenever you use any of the reactive SQL operations, because otherwise the reactive subscriber, the thing that needs to execute all of your reactive blocks, your reactive code, that thing will just exit immediately off the current stack, and you'll never know when it's done, and your test might exit before it had a chance to complete, so that's why we want to block last. Okay, so now that we know the Cassandra schema test simply creates schema, and that SQL file is a resource that we have to then inject. So I suppose that this latent var SQL file is something that we have a property for. So this value is class path simple keys. So assuming that simple keys is on the class path by the time we get to, did it? Yeah, but I don't like doing that way. Yeah, assuming that that's on the class path, and it will be, then it'll get executed before anything starts up. All right. So let's see. Before all key service. Okay, yeah. So this is where we go into our standard. Boy, this is where we go into our standard. Wow. Hold on. Yeah. So this is where I'm going to the standard. I guess test rigmarole. We shouldn't have to look at anything here, since it just does pure database operations. But what's cool about this is rather than using the Cassandra unit, which works in the past, this will just start up a Docker instance of Cassandra and run that. So, Lamborghini. Oh yeah, I remember these. These are my obs. My obs. Okay. Gosh, what is all this stuff? Oh, my eyes. I'll be hurt. Oh, my eyes. Okay. Oh, man. No, let's get out of there. We don't have any of those requirements yet. I guess the one thing that I want to do now is just run the test, but if I didn't, did I run that test yet? Yes, I did run that test. Okay, good. Well, let's chat user repository tests. Well, I didn't want to run that test. I'm pretty sure that something in here doesn't work. And that's why I'm here right now, is because I was bad, and I know something in here doesn't work. And it's TestContainers, not TestContainers' fault, it's my fault. I migrated from Cassandra unit, and during that migration, I said, hey, I'm going to make some choices, and one of those choices was probably to create all the schema at once, or maybe to start all the containers at the same time. or maybe to never shut down the container at the end of every test. But anyway, I think I ended up with the pileup, which was of CPU time. In other words, my computer said, "Hey, you know, you're executing a container per test, not per suite," which is a problem. And my computer promptly told me to piss off. And I looked at the uptime and it was like 12.0 or 18 or something. Just it had been starting up that many containers and shutting them down within seconds of each other. And it clearly had a lot to do since it started an entire database. Yeah. So in order to prevent that mistake, that's what we're looking at here, is me preventing that mistake from happening again. So we don't have, 60 Docker containers having to stand up. We want 6, not 60. If we have 10 tests per suite, 10 is fine, or 6 is fine, right? Okay, good. So this took a lot less time. This took 36 seconds? No? How long did this take? This took for how many seconds? This took a number of seconds. Getting to taking more than a minute. About 36 seconds. And second of all, did everything just skip? Was it skipped? No skips? So, okay. I guess it looks good. So boot to Docker, okay. So we used the container, that's good. Oh, nice. So this is what happens at startup. Okay. So, another thing should be known is that, holy crap, I need to get into test containers, don't I? I've been talking about my code for way too long. So one thing that I really wanted to realize was, how does test containers even know where Docker is? And so that was one of my major questions was, how does test containers even know where to go? If I don't have Docker running, and you might not have Docker running, I might not have Docker running at the time. So let's figure out what it does, how it does it. So we ran our tests, we know it works. We're gonna do a big build. Actually, let's do a couple more of those before we go into some exploration. What I would love to do here is I would like to execute one more test, because this is a test that determines whether I messed up or not. That's topic persistence. I want to get into, my bad, I'm looking at the wrong things here. Let's see, we need to go into a repository test. Message repository test is the most horrible test that I've ever written, possibly. I mean, I've got the word sup in it, and it's over 300, I don't think it's that big. Nobody should like tests that big. You should break up with your SO if that ever happens. If you find that she writes tests and they're like 500 lines, just end it. That's my go-to for today, guys. Just my message of the day is just break it. If he or she is writing tests that are 400 lines, like, don't do that. All right, so let's make sure that everything here looks good. We have an extend with the other SpringBoot test. Do we have test configuration in there? Are we using Cassandra schema tests? Yes. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and pull the trigger on this one. It looks fine. I don't need to do that since this guy already has it. Let's go ahead and run this, and then go back into, let's just make sure that that's actually kicking off. Yeah, it's kicking off. That's gonna eat up all the 4 CPUs that I currently have and maybe 8 gigs of RAM. Don't worry, there's 8 cores and 16 gigs of RAM here. Oh no, don't tell me. What do you need? What just happened? Okay. All right. So default properties, configuration file location. So you have configuration files? No problem. We can set those up. So what I would like to do is possibly pack test containers.properties on the class path and set up some specific things about test containers. But let's keep going. We have disabling startup checks. Before running any containers, it'll read up. Oh, nice. Startup checks to ensure your environment's configured safely. I guess that's good for speed. Or it's good for, like, you know, if you have a really constrained environment, you already know what's going to happen, and you probably do your startup checks in their own tests because you test your tester containers. Then, God, that was horrible. Then, yeah, you wouldn't need to do that. Okay, customizing images. This is probably something that I would do tertiarily. Thirdly, you don't want to use Docker Hub, of course. I want to push this to my own repository. Yes, I love doing that. Okay. Yeah. So I suppose that's actually a really good suggestion. Is, hey, if you're having to download a container, don't download it off the internet. Download it off of somewhere where we know we're going to download it from. What if it's not even the container that we want? Essentially, you're saying that I can create my own container, my own data source. I can create an RSocket that just sits there and waits for it to be executed, tested on, which is good because we're going to do that later. Not now because we don't have enough time. Maybe on my own channel. That sounds like a really good idea. An RSocket test container. I want that. Okay, so that's what customizing images just gave me in terms of an idea. Okay, don't use Docker Hub, but you can overwrite image with your own images from private repositories. All right. So I see they have different Kafka container images, Confluent, right? I see local stack in here. These are like different containers for the purpose of testing that technology. Possibilities to set up a registry mirror. So this is what I'm doing. So it's pulled from there, not from Docker Hub. So this is the first thing that I want. I want to go ahead and say I want to do registry as a pull through cache. Registry Mirror currently only works with Docker images with image names that has no registry specified. For instance, MariaDB, it works. Ah, ooh. Oh, that's weird. Okay, so I only know how to use it with with the registry specified. Okay, well, I'll have to figure that one out too. God. Ryuk Resource Reaper. Ooh, Ryuk Resource Reaper. I haven't used a Ryuk Resource Reaper, but I might need to now. Not really. I don't have that many resources. Okay, so image pull behavior, don't worry about that. And host detection. Okay, so we get to host detection down here. So in case anybody was wondering, in case I was wondering, how the heck does it know where the host is? Because I didn't even need to worry about that. I didn't need to configure that. Like, why should it just magically work? And this kind of scares some people because when you hear the word magic, right? But we do know that there is a auto detection that happens, and then we know that we have this environment variable. So Docker host equals whatever that socket is. Go ahead and set that up. See the Docker documentation, right? Now, as you can tell, I'm not like the biggest person in reading online, so I'm trying to digest this information and also organize it on the fly, like by myself inside of my own brain. Because what I want to do here next is ensure that my tests are portable ultimately. I want portability of tests ultimately. And I think that's the most important thing. And this didn't work. I didn't expect it to. But why didn't it work? That's the question. Let's see. So we have an API core query timeout. Ooh, God, query timeout. What? Found multiple occurrences of JSON object. What? Okay, so there is a DataStax error. Probably couldn't start the container. Oh, it did. It started the container. But oh, God, why do I have to actually delete one of these? It probably shouldn't matter, but that didn't kill the build. Okay. Okay, so great Scott. Let's make sure our message was. Let's make sure that. No, if I ran the user test and that works. So like I said earlier, my message tests were the ones that didn't work the worst. But they weren't necessarily like Kafka messages. These are just application messages. So they live in the database by default. Right? And, alright. Well, that's fine. Well, what we want to do then is, we want to ensure that I didn't mess with anything that didn't need to be messed with. And also I can get rid of this. was called message test. Okay, so we want message repository tests, and then we're going to, I know, I didn't need to do that, but there I did. I just did it. Sorry. I know somebody's mad about that. Okay, so we have our SQL message file, simple message.sql. I'm imagining that these tests all ran are all going to be successful. There's nothing that should stop it from being that, other than some messed up, malformed CQL, sorry. So let's make sure. We didn't get any errors from the DDL, so it should have been fine there. So, so I guess my question to the audience, and I do have a question to the audience. So, God, how do I make a bigger impact? Right? Now, that impact has to be with the things that connect you to the technology that you use. And that has to deal with the things that I use that I'm interested in, right? Databases, testing, RPC, I/O, real-time message, and streaming. Then the question becomes, how do you reflect that outside of Twitter, right? And I think I have an idea. I think that idea is it's not even gestated. I already wrote it down. Since you're here. Okay. Really? Timeout? Wait, really? Timeout? Really? That never happened before. That didn't happen last time. Okay. Well, let's go back to this guy and see if he works. Okay, well, apparently something didn't work. We'll have to figure that one out. We'll figure it out. I'm not sure if I can figure that out. I need to debug that. Here we are, 45 minutes in, and I haven't even gotten to the ElasticSearch stuff yet. Which I really do. So, do I debug this or do I get an Elastic? I think I will get an Elastic. I need that. I need that index. So, yeah, I need that index badly. So I need a new module, and what is that module going to do? I actually have a burning itch to code and not debug. I understand. So, okay. So I want no, actually I don't want a persistence elastic. Okay, so I want an index elastic. I think what I can do here is go to the Spring initializer. And I have this guy here, so why don't I just go ahead and close that. Let's get rid of the Cassandra stuff because we just want ElasticSearch. And let's go ahead and let's generate that. Let's generate that project. But what we're going to do is we're just going to use it for the scaffolding, for the project scaffolding itself. And then we'll do away with that later on. I just need this project scaffolding to work. All right, so demo chat. I can't see myself, and that's weird. Oh, that's way better. Okay. So what did I just do? Right, unzip downloads slash I think it was called demo.zip. Yes, demo chat index elastic. Goodbye. Gonna go ahead and make a couple of little edits here. Let's see, what do I want to call it? How about we don't? How about we just use a regular expression? Okay. Well, yeah. See, this is reactive. I'm gonna hope this next thing is gonna be reactive as well. So, elastic. So we're gonna basically this is an index. We want the index to hold data items, and I want to be able to search from that index. On the other hand, will I be happy by doing that? Is that gonna give me justice? Am I going to, let's see, am I going to see something in here in myself that makes me go, no, you shouldn't do that yet. It's too early. I don't know. But that's why we do these things. And honestly, I need the time to do that. So don't worry about that. I can use IntelliJ to do its thing. I don't have code formatters, and I don't need that either. Wow. Okay. Well. Yeah. Alright, we'll just leave it like that. Oh, one more thing. Hi. Oh, that page down. Ooh. This is going to be chat index elastic, right? Okay. Alrighty. So that's the newest, freshest module I just added here. So let's quickly write a couple of tests. Let's quickly get. I know. What are you saying, Mario? You're going to abandon a ship that's already burning, and there's tests aboard that need your help. Well, yeah, kind of. This is me guilting myself. Oh. Oh, this is the timeout. Yeah. Oh, valid address, timeout, yada yada. All right. So you stopped working with me, buddy. You know what happened? You know what you did? What did you do? You know what you did. You know what you did. Actually, I do know what I did. I probably shouldn't have been mucking around with the test so much. Probably something that I could have, not done. I know why. So, it always happens whenever I think I'm way cooler than I am. And that happens a lot. Like, oh my god. Just, sometimes you wake up and you're like, I can probably code all of Yahoo in PHP in my sleep right now. But, do you? Do you really want to do that? No, not really. It's not worth it. It's absolutely not. It's not the thing that makes people tick. Nobody wants another Yahoo. I don't even know if we want another Google. You know what? If you're listening out there, just tell me if there's another technology that you want one of. And Spring, it's okay to say, I want another Spring. We all want another Spring. I mean, how many people have you heard say Spring for insert language here technology? That's happened. Spring for Go. Spring for Rust. Spring for Rust would be amazing. I mean, if you're a Rust programmer, my hat's off to you. First of all, you need a hug. Second of all, drink some water. If you're a Rust programmer right now, and if you have a landline, dial 811 for Rust programmers. That's their emergency number. Somebody will be there to escape you out of your basement immediately. Okay, and if they don't, that's just because the Russians won. I don't know. I don't know what to say. You're a Rust programmer. You're probably awesome. Okay, so yeah, this is happening again. I think I think I'm mad at. I think I made it mad. I think I might have made it mad. But why did I make it? Why is it so mad? did I, alright, so I didn't change anything to this. Um, ooh, there you go again. I think we're gonna have to kill my .m2 directory. I never want to do that. I never like doing that. Um, let's try something. I'm gonna try something new really quickly. And when I mean try, I want to figure something out. Okay, I'm gonna stop my local Docker host. That's what I'm doing now. I'm in another location. I'm gonna stop my local Docker host because I believe it got stuck. So I'm gonna go ahead and restart it, and then I'm gonna cross my fingers that I actually didn't break the configuration, because I know I didn't break the configuration. And if you told me I did break the configuration, then it's just gonna make me mad. I mean, more mad than I already am. And I don't like being angry. So I know it wasn't because the configuration had application context initializer. I had that earlier so I can actually run those SQL files so that I can execute the SQL start, right? That's what I had the application context initializer there for in the first place. But I decided it was better if I just put that in a before all or before each. Which did make more sense than putting it into a application context initializer. All right, so I will delete that. And I know I have this guy here, my test cluster configuration, which I deprecated, but that shouldn't, that's not going to stop anybody from working today. And also I'm using Synergy, and if you know anything about lag, if you know anything about like latency, my Bluetooth will send a signal before Synergy has a chance to pick it up with another keystroke. I guess it'll think that keystroke is still down, and it'll send the mouse gesture with it. So there we go. We have the ultimate of lag testers. How much lag is in your network today? There we go. Not a lot. There shouldn't be a whole lot. I'm on cables too, so I'm on gig Ethernet, so I'm not sure why there's any lag at all, other than the fact that I'm live streaming, and well, it would just make it that much more interesting for it to lag if I was live streaming on a wired connection. It just wants to test me. Okay. All right, so I could make a major attempt at actually try to read the whole entire error message. But I don't like doing that online because it's just, oh my gosh, really? And PT2S, oh man, I never got that error before. That's like an error I never want to see. Query timeout after PT2S. What in the world is... That is something that I didn't expect to get that, first of all. That's a 2-second thing. Okay. Timer, driver, timeout. Okay. So I see. Alrighty. That's probably a rabbit hole that I should go down to configure. I shouldn't have to configure it. Nothing should be this. Nothing should be that slow, especially my computer. And sometimes you just kind of throw away the entire thing. You just kind of gotta throw it all away. That's what I'm gonna do there. I'm just gonna go ahead and throw it all away. I threw away the Docker host. I now threw away the IntelliJ. And now I'm bringing IntelliJ back. Okay. So, there's that. There are some Docker, I guess, command line hints for people who want to get the feel of Docker on the command line. If you're like me, you've probably been doing it for years without committing it to memory. Follow, understand, I guess, and read. So I guess like I can understand and read it, but I never followed it. So I'm always understanding, reading it, understanding it, and never committing it to memory. So that's me in Docker. But nowadays I'm getting more of a a feel for it since I kind of have to use Docker on a normal basis. Okay. So we don't need any specific configurations that I know of. That I don't think we need any now. I'm probably going to end up doing a couple of things. Let's see. First and foremost is first thing that I want to do. I don't want to reconfigure it. I want it to work, and it's worked until now. And I want it to work again so I can write more tests. And I want to write more tests so I can kind of show off tests that work using a container, which I did once, but the fact that it stopped working is just kind of bugging me a little bit. So let's see, chat index elastic. So for this thing here, I guess what I will need to do is I'm going to go ahead that POM file for the ElasticSearch one. Right now, our existing tests are not defunct. Let's run that again. Let's go ahead and see if that does its magic. What we want to do is add the SpringBoot starter data ElasticSearch. Alrighty, and I guess we can add. Yeah, I guess what we're going to need to do next is add the test containers for it. So let's go into here. Let's ask it about, do we have ElasticSearch in here in this module? Database containers. Oh, hi. Oh, databases, modules. Oh, there it is, ElasticSearch. Okay. Okay. Note that it's based on the official Docker image. Oh, okay, so it's based off of this guy. That's pretty cool. Alright. Transport client versus HTTP client. I see. Oh. Right. So I'm going to need that guy there. Alrighty. So we have a couple of things to follow, which is gonna be just fun. Man, are you just now running? Oh man. I thought you had 8 cores. What gives, dude? This is an idea. Oh my gosh. Oh, just compile already. Am I giving you too much? Wow. Alright, so one of the interesting things is, you know, when I was thinking about this last week, and I was moving from the embedded stuff, like the embedded Redis and the embedded Cassandra, I really wanted an index. And now that I think about it, I wanted the index so bad I forgot about Redis. But anyway, we're gonna go ahead and just set the stage up for an Elasticsearch module, and then I can go ahead and write a couple of tests and see that it does something. This looks like it might be working since I'm getting a lot more like pull from the logs, and as long as yeah, I see the channel, I see what's going on here. Started key service tests. Yeah, okay, so we're getting that similar error again, and the reason why is your boy messed up the configuration. That's what happened. Woo. Yeah. All right. Okay, well, why are you so... This is exploration. Thank you very much for joining me. It's 1 o'clock. They want me to go. But thank you for joining me. This was a good exploration. What we want to do is, God damn it. We want to take our keyboards and we want to smash them until they work, until our tests all work. I guess what I can do is next time I check this in, it'll work. which is gonna happen in God knows how long. I have an operation coming up, so so that operation's gonna take me out for a little while, and what we want to do is I want to do it before and after. So GitHub Mario's code path demo chat. Okay. I don't think I've pushed to this in a while. That's weird. Oh, okay. I have a lot of stored check-ins that I gotta check in. Oh my gosh. Alrighty. So, what was I saying? Yeah. Okay, so at the end of the day, what we're gonna do is we're going to make sure that we have test containers for Cassandra, Xstream, and wow, there's no data flow in here. Okay. Oh, there it is. Okay. And yeah, that hasn't been written yet. Oh my god, that needs to be written. We want our test containers for everything that's to this project. So have we gone there yet with this guy? Have we done test containers on him yet? Nope. Holy moly. He has not seen test containers. I could have been... Okay, am I pushing to the right repository? Is this a cached version? No? Okay. Well, anyway, we'll have to push those updates in there. And okay, so at the end of the day, I want test containers for Redis, ElasticSearch, and Cassandra. I have the ones for Cassandra right now. Unfortunately, I burnt the test itself, and I burnt the test in a fantastic way that only Mario can do, and practically fix. So, without further ado, I'm gonna give it back to the static on Twitch, and thanks for joining me on this. I will be here coding and literally cursing my keyboard and cursing the very thing that makes me type commands into it. I don't know where that comes from, but we'll get there. And I'll have a new voice in about 2 weeks. So, hey, Operation gives you new voices. If you think I look weird in a couple of weeks, if you're seeing this and you're like, hey, that's not the same guy, that's because I will have some new changes. I will get rid of this nasal problem that I've been having for a while. Alrighty, so P2S. So that is the thing that is broke. Let us fix it. Never got that before, but I guess we can Google it. Okay, so here we go. Test containers. There we go. So here's the link. Here's the thing that I want to fix it with. Okay, so we have a wait strategy, and test containers wait up to 60 seconds for the container's first map network port to start listening. The simple measure provides a basic check. Alrighty, so that's good. Default 60 seconds timeout isn't switching with startup timeout method. Okay. Right. Okay. Minimum duration startup strategy example. Checks the container is running has been running for a defined period of time. So I guess we want something like this. Alrighty. So this is a standard. Alright, so I guess, where will this happen? I guess this will happen in setup? in test configuration. And I guess I can use the initializing bean then. Boy. I just keep going back on myself, like saying, yeah, do it this way, and then don't do it this way. And it's like, well, I might as well do it that way. How about... So, yeah. Okay. Does it have the history? Oh, it doesn't have the history. Oh, I guess I got rid of that. Let's see. Get rollback. There we go. So you again. I can get rid of you. Okay, there you go. We don't need a log. Okay, so I guess if I initialize this guy, alrighty, so let's see what it asks me to do. It says, hey, you want to create a generic container, give it the container name. Okay. I can just... Right. Container, Nginx, and then exposed ports. Wait, okay, so wait. Where's my wait strategy? With startup timeout, okay. Okay. So I want to essentially tell it, hey, I want to configure you with a startup timeout of, and this is wrong, because you really shouldn't have to tell your container or anything, any external resource, like how long it should not take an inordinate amount of time to start up or shut down. It should be pretty quick. So I have to wonder, why is it taking so long? It didn't take a minute. It took less than 10 seconds, but for some reason it's not. So we have to figure that one out. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna debug that now, because I really need it to work. I mean, I do. I need to be able to compile this whole thing, and if it doesn't work, then well, I don't have a test. My next question is going to go about what in the world do I do when I need a test. What am I going to do when I want to put this into a bootstrap? So I don't want to programmatically. I actually just want to set this up with YAML. So rather than finding the programmatic strategy, I'd rather find the declarative, not non-declarative, the configuration example. So it's pretty conventional. However, I guess one of the entry points is, well, where is your test container entry point, Mario? Do you have a test container entry point? And you know what? The actual absolute answer to that is, we should have a test container entry point. So if I said something like generic, val container, document name. Hi, are you there? There you go. Dot parse, and what was the name in Bootstrap? It was this guy here. Okay. And then hey, I see you. I see what you're doing there. Oh, how cute. Okay. I'm pretty sure you're still here, right? Yes, import. Oh my god. Docker image name.parse. Could have been sure, but I could have Docker image name was oops. Why am I typing .parse? There's no parse method in here. What do you mean there's no parse method? Gotta be a parse method. Okay, what does Docker image name take? Oh, it takes its own, it takes an argument. Oh, so I don't need to write why do they have .parse in here then? Okay. There. Now what is the next argument you need? You need, oh, that's a future. So I give you a equals generic container, Docker image name. So give me that. Oh, it's a future. Oh. Ooh, that's interesting. Okay, I don't know how that works in Kotlin. I'm definitely not giving you futures. Docker image name is org test container utilities, and it does not have any subclasses, so there's no parse method on here either. Is valid. There's no parse. Uh-oh. Okay. Well. Let's try that in Java and see what happens. How about that? So waiting for two. Okay, that's the wrong code anyway. So here's the documentation I'm reading here. I actually started with this guy here. I said, hey, give me generic container, make it the Cassandra one, and go ahead and we were going to put the with the wait. So let's scroll down a little bit here. Health check wait, no, logout wait, startup wait strategies. Yeah. Wait convenience class, there's subclasses of wait strategy. If none of these options meet your requirements, you can create your own subclass of abstract wait strategy. I don't need to do that. For HTTP, wait for health checks. I didn't want to do all of that. Wait for status code, don't want to do that. Expose ports, expose. Okay. Waiting for containers. It's literally, I'm waiting for containers. I'm not going to bore you guys. It's 1:15. How about this? How about I just check in something that works? So you guys don't have to be so bored, because I don't want people to be bored while I read documentation. Such is the hard life of a developer, I guess, or a person that is advocating the development of things that are not necessarily simple, or are simple, but yet that guy just causes things to be more simple in his mind, and to break it down there. I want this to be dirt easy, okay? And unless I get it to be dirt easy right now, it's not going to make my time. So I will leave you with the following. Where can I find it? All right. Yes. Yes. Something funny. Something funny, but not bad. Oh, wrong host. Huh. There we go. So I was on LinkedIn, and I'm looking at that code going, I want that code to work right now. All right, anyway, don't worry about it. So I'm on LinkedIn, and I find this guy. And it was actually a post from a post, because that's what the post said, and the post had 2 ads on it, and these were ads. One ad was for SpringBoot 2020, and I was like, what? Who's doing this? And then the other one was implementing a cache. So I guess you make your cache before you go into the boots. I don't know. I thought it was funny. I thought you guys thought it would think it's funny too. because honestly, somebody didn't test their ads or their keywords, because Spring Boots and Spring Boot are two completely different semantic things, but they are funny when seen together. So, thanks for having me. See everybody later. And don't forget, check out this URL if you're interested in seeing the conclusion. Let's get there right now. GitHub. And it's github.com/Mario's codepath/demo chat. So you'll find all the stuff that you need to know here. And I should really push something to this now, because I can't believe it's going on 2 months that I haven't pushed. Why is it not pushed? Okay, we'll do it. See you guys. Until next time. Live long and prosper, and also vote if you're in America. If you're not in America, you're